Good evening, Patriots. This is Praying Medic, and this is my QAnon broadcast for Wednesday, March 6th. Those of you who are following along at home, you can find Q posts on a number of websites. QMap.pub, QAnon.pub are a couple of them that I use. If you have an Android device and you'd like to get updates when Q is posting, get a notification, you can get Q drops and Q alerts in the Play Store. Not available for iOS right now. My theme for this broadcast is Those Awake Can See Clearly. I started this thread a little bit later than most people did because Q was giving us a lot of these coded stringers and I had no idea really what they meant. I was waiting, hoping that Q would eventually show up and go, well, here's what we're talking about. And actually, Q did show up and give us a little bit of information. So on March 4th, Q began posting this series of stringers. For those of you who are new, when Q posts these coded messages with abbreviations and just letters and numbers, sequences, and some words that really don't seem to make a whole lot of sense. Generally, I believe these are operational directives that are being given to people in the field that I'm guessing are working in the intelligence community with Q and the team of people that he's associated with. And we are getting kind of a fly-on-the-wall view of some of their operational commands and directives that are being shared back and forth. So we don't have a context. We don't really know how to decode these stringers. We're just observing. Now, Q posted this stringer, Project MGL, SJAH on the letter X, 830-198-374, and then we have in brackets and in bold, -48, D, fire good, location assist good, Q. So that was the first of, I think, 6 messages like that. Here's the second one, MGL, change route under assist P193. And some people were wondering if MGL was an acronym for perhaps Mogul, which is President Trump's Secret Service nickname. I don't think that's the case, actually, and you'll see why. Q posted this, clear all nons. Again, -48 is bold and it's in brackets. It's interesting to me that Q, the only thing in any of these stringers it's in bold is the -48. Another stringer here, dark pattern active, -48 bold in brackets. Limit, no, nons, Q. And then we have this one, battery A, roof A1, battery F, ground 9G. Active commence, track report in parentheses 2, track confirm parentheses 2, again, -48 in brackets, and that is bold, dark, Q. Then this is the final post in that series of stringers. Public comms prevent, switch private, reg C, FS on incoming, Q. So that was the end of those series of posts. A lot of us were scratching our heads. Q, what the heck are you talking about? Then yesterday, news was reported that 3 improvised explosive devices were found in transit hubs in London. And Q then posted a link to that and said, coincidence that the post stringers were dropped last night regarding -48. Watch the news, Q. I think Q here is suggesting that -48, maybe -48 hours, Q is suggesting that we would be seeing news concerning these coded messages within 48 hours. That's my best decode. All right, moving along. In December, a fire caused heavy damage to a Google facility in China. Q had posted about that a number of times previously and suggested the fire may have been cover for the much criticized censored search engine that Google is developing on behalf of the Chinese government. Yesterday, it was reported that Google is continuing its work on that censored search engine here in the States. This is a Fox Business News article, and this one is from The Intercept, and that search engine is called Codename or Project Dragonfly. Here's another article about Google employees uncover ongoing work on the censored search engine. Easy to say. Try that 3 times fast. All right, so Q posted links to those 2 articles. And along with those 2 articles, we have this graphic. On the left-hand side, we've got a couple of tech logos that a lot of us are familiar with. You've got the Gmail logo, the Facebook logo. You have Android Product Store, Apple logo, Google Play Store logo, Google GPS logo, Google Chrome logo, and then you have these other logos for occult symbols that are very similar. With the Gmail, you have the Masonic Royal Rich Apron. With the Facebook logo, you've got the Masonic Tubal Cain logo. With the Google Chrome, you've got the Divine King sign 666. You have the Eye of Providence that goes with Google GPS, the Seal of Satan that goes with Google Play. And then you've got the Freemasonry logo that goes with the Apple Play Store. On the right-hand side, we have a banner from Reddit, and there's a lot of symbology in that banner as well. Q wrote, "Did the fire in China cause Google to continue their work from California? Those awake can see clearly." Q. And Q has long told us that their need for symbolism will be their downfall. All right, on March 4th, Sarah Carter published an article about Loretta Lynch's amnesia regarding who signed off on the Carter Page FISA application that was used to spy on the Trump campaign. Lynch also doubled down on her story that the tarmac meeting she had between Bill Clinton and herself was a coincidence, it was not prearranged, and that their conversation was pretty much inconsequential, just talking about grandkids. So Sarah Carter published that article, and she got a look at apparently a transcript of Lynch's testimony that has not yet been made public. Q posted a link to that Sarah Carter tweet and the article without making any comment on it. Now, I suspect Q may want us to focus in on a future Bruce past. We've got a drop from Q on February 21st where there's a tweet from the president, previous Q posts about Loretta Lynch, and Q said, "Deal of a lifetime. Tarmac meeting not planned, according to Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton. Security reports indicate Secret Service security detail for Clinton and the FBI detail for Lynch had planned the meeting." There's more in there. I don't want to spend too much time on it, but Q asked at the end, is Loretta Lynch returning to the news? Right, this is on February 21st. Then on March 4th, Sarah Carter publishes this article, and I think Q wanted us to pick up on the fact that this is a future proves past. Q knew that this was going to be returning to the news. Q posted a link to a tweet by Todd Penley and reminded us that it's helpful to read between the lines or to understand inferred meanings that are not openly stated. There's the link. Sometimes reading between the lines provides whatever, fill in the blank, and then meet the Inspector General, Q. All right. Todd Penley tweeted this out. "I'll take what is a Q proof for 1,000, Alex." It's a reference to the show Jeopardy. It's a tweet within a tweet. Todd Penley retweeted Beer at the Parade. And Beer at the Parade tweeted this out. POTUS notes from March 2nd. What's missing? Dates? Right, so what's missing, let me give you a little zoomed in image here. If we look a little bit closer at this image, you can see that there's a list, and you can see number 5, number 6, number 7 is Meet IG, Inspector General. Number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There is no 15, there is no 16, 17, 18, or 19. Those numbers are missing. So I believe that is what Q was drawing our attention to, and that's what Beer at the Parade was looking into. And Beer at the Parade, by the way, was on the board. He said, "I got a U from Q." Beer at the Parade, friends. All right, so the Anons did not think that that picture was actually of the president. They thought it was Mike Pompeo because of the wedding ring. I did not know this, but a lot of people recognize the fact that the president doesn't wear a wedding band. So this Anon said, is this supposed to be POTUS hands? When did POTUS start wearing a wedding band? And Q responded to that Anon, Kansas. So we have confirmation that it was Mike Pompeo. In March of 2018, after the president fired Rex Tillerson as Secretary of State, he appointed Mike Pompeo as his successor. Q posted, trust Kansas. Pompeo was a representative of the state of Kansas. So that's where that comes from. For those of you that are interested, the photo of Pompeo holding that to-do list was taken May 23rd, 2018 at the House Foreign Affairs Committee hearing. We know that because this article was written about that hearing, and a photo of Mike holding that list was taken that day. All right, Q then posted this, Meet IG, Inspector General, Huber interview regarding they range from domestic terrorism to court-authorized wiretaps of criminal organizations to child pedophiles and those who would exploit our children, criminal aliens, big fraud schemes. And Q writes, do you think the above is Utah-related? Crumbs are being dropped and missed, thinks Scope. Q. So this is a quote from an article that Q posted a couple days ago. There's an interview with John Huber, U.S. Attorney from Salt Lake, and another attorney, a new attorney that was just hired. And they were talking about the type of cases. Huber said each attorney is working on about 20 cases and described the nature of those cases. Q wants us to know that these are not necessarily cases local related to Utah. Q is definitely hinting that these are federal cases that encompass a wide venue. Probably, I'm guessing, a lot of this involves politicians that are based in D.C. All right. Now we've got the Meet the IG. There are 73 governmental agencies that all have an inspector general. We don't know which one Pompeo was going to meet with on his list last year. Could have been State Department Inspector General because he was taking over as Secretary of State. Could have been CIA because he had just left the CIA. Could have been the Intelligence Community Inspector General. We don't really know. But I think he was drawing our attention to the Department of Justice Inspector General because Q is tying Huber and Meet the Inspector General together in this post. And Inspector General Mike Horowitz, who is the DOJ Inspector General, is working with Huber. So I think Q is suggesting that's the Inspector General that Pompeo was going to meet with. Then Q posted a link to this article a couple of days ago, prosecuting pedophiles and violent criminals behind the badge with U.S. attorneys in Salt Lake City. You might want to check out that article. It's a very good article. All right, so we're going to switch again. Q was posting on a lot of different subjects yesterday. I apologize. I'm trying to keep these organized. Switching back to the coded messages and the packages that were found in London, and Anon noted that the packages were not called bombs, but suspicious packages. So he posted that, pointed out this earlier. They specifically call them bombs, not suspicious packages, as per the norm. Q responded, fire, Q. When I read the article, I did notice something interesting. The packages, all white postal bags, contained yellow padded shipping envelopes, having been assessed by specialist officers to be small, improvised explosive devices. These devices, at this early stage of the investigation, appear capable of igniting a small fire when they were opened. Now, Q posted the day before, D, fire, good. Location assist, good. So I think Q is drawing our attention to the fact that he somehow knew that these packages would cause a fire if they were opened. And I wanted to review this real quickly. Q brings up the meeting with the OIG. And Q has previously mentioned meeting with the OIG, but this time this was about William Barr, the new Attorney General, meeting with John Huber and the Inspector General. Now this was a post from February 9th where we first got the countdown stringer minus 30, 45, 60, and 90, which I believe is a reference to 30 days, 45 days, 60 days, and 90 days, things that are going to happen. One of the things we find out in this post is that Barr is going to remove the declassification assignment that was given to Inspector General. He's going to be taking care of that himself with Chris Wray. They will make the decision on when that declassification happens and what will be redacted. And then at the end of this message, we have this Barr meeting Huber and Inspector General, and then the Inspector General report is going to be released. So I think Q is again reminding us that there is a series of events that are happening in a countdown. They're all scheduled. And when we see one thing happen, we can expect to see another thing happen. I think it's interesting that Huber is doing some public education about what he is doing. Huber is talking publicly about prosecuting pedophiles, about white-collar crimes and things of that nature. That is a useful tool for the Department of Justice to put that information out there. Because when normies see their senators and their representatives being prosecuted and people in Hollywood being prosecuted, they're not going to know what is going on. But this public information campaign, I think, will help a little bit, help normies figure out what's happening. All right, wanted to say one thing about the countdown, and that is this. So if we look at where we are in the countdown, Q first mentioned the 21-day, T-minus 21-day countdown on February 26th. If you march those days out on the calendar, yesterday when I did this video, would have been T-minus 15. Today's the 6th of March, so today would be T-minus 14 days and counting. Now, yesterday, if yesterday was T-minus 15, it's interesting that this image that Q pointed us to has sort of a countdown. If you look at the numbers backwards in the lower right-hand corner there, you've got 19, 18, 17, 16, 15. And that was posted yesterday, which would have been T-minus 15. I can't claim to understand all the countdown intricacies perfectly, but I think Q definitely wants us to pay attention to this information and realize things are moving along as planned. Okay, next. Uncle Jimbo on Twitter posted a video with Jerry Nadler. I'll let you listen to that video.
Okay, so now you're not sure he's obstructed justice?
Personally, I think he has, but we have to look and see. If we're going to do anything, you have to have proof. I think there's a lot of evidence, but we have to get a lot more evidence.
So that's what this is about. You don't yet have the proof.
It's part of what this is about.
And in response to that video, Q posted this. There's a link to the video. Listen carefully regarding proof versus evidence. D party con. Define evidence. It's a noun. The available body of facts or information indicating whether a belief or proposition is true or valid. The study finds little evidence of overt discrimination, as an example. Synonyms: proof is in brackets. Confirmation, verification, substantiation, corroboration, affirmation, authentication, attestation, documentation. Define proof. Noun. 1. Evidence. Or, and that's in brackets, or an argument establishing or helping to establish a fact or the truth of a statement. You will be asked to give proof of your identity. Synonyms: evidence, verification, corroboration, authentication, confirmation, certification, validation, attestation, demonstration, substantiation, witness, and testament. Does proof equal evidence? Listen to the clip again regarding proof and evidence. Define brainwashing. The truth is right in front of you. Think for yourself. Q. And that is in relation to this idea that Nadler and Adam Schiff have been saying, and Ted Lieu, that they have evidence, that they have proof that Trump colluded with Russia. They have proof of Trump's crimes, or they say they have evidence, but they actually don't have any evidence. If they had the evidence, they would simply hand it over to the Department of Justice and the president would be charged. They don't have evidence. They don't have proof. They want to find proof. They want to find evidence. That is why they're continuing these investigations. Q posted this: every barrel has a bad apple, but in this case, bad apples do not spoil the bunch. The core is what counts. The swamp is everywhere. Q. Corruption is not the exception in Washington, D.C. It seems to be the rule. All right. On March 5th, yesterday, NSA Twitter account posted this, Follow the Dragon, and there's a couple of hashtags, RSAC and hashtag Ghidra. Talk has moved, now at Moscone, West 3001, also streaming live at West 2000. Downloads go live after the talk. All right, Q posted a link to that and posted the 8chan logo. Sometimes you need a little humor. Look familiar? Q. It does look a little familiar. And then Q posted this. X also grew up watching Thundercats, so we've got this little Thundercats action there, and the Anons are having fun with that because a lot of them watched Thundercats when they were growing up too. This Anon responded, X is code name for who exactly? Something we'd all like to know. I think Q is talking about somebody on the team. And then this Anon said, Q, are you actually being candid with us? This is amazing. And then comes back a week later to see decodes of Thundercats. All right. Sun Q Zhu noticed that the president was dispensing humor at the same time Q was. Q gives us a little humor, and then guess who else gives us a little humor 3 minutes later? POTUS. Real Donald Trump. If your eyes are open, you see it. And so the president tweeted right after Q tweeted out the 8chan logo. The president tweeted out, crooked Hillary Clinton confirms she'll not run in 2020, rules out a third bid for the White House. Aw, shucks, does that mean I won't get to run against her again? She'll be sorely missed. So Q posted a link to that Twitter status. Good catch, Patriot. A puzzle within a puzzle. Red, green, magic swords, NSA humor, Q. And for those of you who are wondering the magic sword reference, we know red, green is just a reference to Red Castle, Green Castle, the coded stringer that helped us understand that the president was going to build the wall with Army Corps of Engineers. Magic swords. Q, back in September, had been posting about magic sword, and we weren't really sure what that was about. And then Q posted a couple of links to, one was a news article and the other was a tweet by the president. The news article was about explosions in a Syrian airbase that were thought to be caused by an electrical fault. And then the tweet is a warning from Trump to Bashar al-Assad about not being reckless. Bad things can happen if you are. Kind of a veiled warning, I think. And Anon posted op magic sword, and Q posted this military helicopter picture in response. I think confirming that we may have had something to do with that. So, wanted to do a quick explanation of why my posts have changed. Someone asked me that said, hey, your posts don't look like the ones that are on the 8chan board. What's going on? All right, so just want to full transparency here, explain what's happening. A lot of people on Twitter use the posts from QAnon.pub and other websites that are like that with these white background, kind of a whitish gray background. I personally prefer the lavender and rose color background of 8chan, and I try to always post so that the Anons are in this pinkish rose color and Q statements are in the lavender so people know who is talking. That's just a format I've used for a long time. One thing I've noticed is that if you look at posts as they appear on QAnon.pub, the bold text that is indicated by Q shows up very well on QAnon.pub and other websites. It does not show up on 8chan posts. This is the same post, and you'll notice down there that -48 in brackets is supposed to be bold, and it's not. This is a direct screenshot I took from 8chan. 8chan does not indicate bold text. And bold text is kind of important. So I have decided to change the way that I post things on Twitter. Also, if you look at links on QAnon.pub and websites that pull posts from 8chan, The links to articles are in blue, which helps you distinguish, that's a link to an article and the rest is what Q is talking about. And if you go to, of course, the 8chan posts, the article links are in black text. Makes it a little bit difficult to distinguish what is what. Also, 8chan posts tend to have a lot smaller font size, and that is hard to read on a mobile device. And it is sometimes difficult for me to read when I'm doing my decodes. So what I've done is I have a workflow where I take the background from the 8chan post and I just take a screenshot of it with the post number, the time, and information. I then go to a place like qanon.pub and I copy and paste the text, or I'll just take it from the 8chan post and I'll break it up into, if there's a link, I put the link in there and I color that, usually blue, and then the text of Q's post I put in black in a larger font so that it's easier to read on mobile devices. And also if there's any bold that is indicated on the qanon.pub website, I will bold those that part of the text so that people understand what is supposed to be bold and what is not bold. So that is why my posts look a little bit different than ones you might see when you go to 8chan. I'm just trying to make things a little bit more clear, which does make my post look a little bit different. So let's look at this post. We have a link to a New York Post article, and Q writes, "Read carefully, knowing what you now know. Predictable, moves and counter moves, Death Blossom." Q. Okay, so what is Death Blossom? And what is that article about? Well, the article is, it's an old article from November where it talks about the president threatening to declassify documents about the Democrats if they come after him. And it basically says that the president was holding these documents back essentially as ammunition that could be used against them if they attacked him. Death Blossom. Death Blossom is an American military slang from the Iraq War. The tendency of Iraqi security forces in response to receiving a little fire from the enemy. They would either run away or do the death blossom, spraying fire indiscriminately in all directions, as reported on globalsecurity.org. So essentially a panic, attacking things because you're freaking out. So Q is indicating that all these attacks from Nadler, Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, these people are desperate and they're attacking the president because they have no other option. Desperate people do desperate things. Q reminded us it is during this period of time that surveillance pays off. When does a bird sing? Q. This is in reference to Rod Rosenstein last September. Sarah Carter published an article, and that is today, about Commissioner for U.S. Customs and Border Protection rebuking members of Congress who said there is not a true crisis at the border. The link that Q posted goes to a video where Dianne Feinstein talks about immigration and the border. I'll let you listen to that video.
People who should be here are those who come legally at this time. And we've got to, for the time being, enforce our borders. The day when America could be the welfare system for Mexico is gone. We simply can't afford it. And I think you've seen the figures to state and local governments of what the cost is. It's over $2 billion.
I think we should enforce our borders. To have a situation where 40% of the babies born on Medicaid in California today are born of illegal immigrants creates a very real problem for the state, which is in deficit.
Look, of course you can enforce the borders.
Let me finish.
I agree.
To have 17% of our prison population at a cost of $300 million a year be illegal immigrants who come here and commit felonies. That's not what this nation is all about.
Very simple. They've been enforce our border. They have been speed up the asylum process. They have been crack down on illegal smuggling. They have been remove the option that is given to an illegal alien convicted of a felony has an option of serving time in this country or in their own country. I say return them to their own country, wherever that country may be, to serve the time. So my proposals have been all along those lines, and I think most people have regarded them as moderate.
And Q writes, But they, Dems, already knew. They just lie, dishonest, again in brackets and bold. Welcome to the D Party Con, Q. And Anon said, Feinstein said this many decades ago, so she's absolutely full of it. Q wrote, why is POTUS pushing for term limits? Time equals corruption, Q. Q then wrote this, freedom of thought will not only save you, but it will save the world. The days of fake news, control of the narrative, brainwashing, all in bold and brackets, are over. Enemy of the people, the Great Awakening, Q. So be encouraged, patriots. Keep us in prayer. Keep Q and the team in prayer. Keep the president in prayer. Thank you for your support. Thank you for sharing this on social media. That is all I have for you on this update. This is Paramedic signing off. I will catch you on the next broadcast.